Now pay attention, 007. I've always tried to teach you two things. First, never let them see you bleed.
And the second?
Always have an escape plan.
Everybody, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it may be. It's Christopher Morales, That One Bond Guy, and today we have another episode of That One Bond Guy Meets, and I have none other than Mr. Bud West from the Bond Brain. How are you doing today, Mr. West?
I am doing really good, man. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, I really wanted to get a hold of you because I know you went to Operation Snowfall, and you've been, all around the community for a while now with your podcast and very exciting things. And not only that, with all the craziness that's been going on with No Time to Die, man, it's great to hear another opinion on it. So I definitely wanted to be able to get in contact with you, and it's an absolute honor to be able to chat with you tonight. So,
yeah,
thank you.
Thanks for including me. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this. Yeah.
So right off the bat, just let us know, a little bit about yourself, about your podcast, about, what you're doing and how you're on Instagram and all this kind of stuff and how it relates to Bond.
Well, I've been watching Bond for a long time, but my podcast is really not. I've done quite a few, but I do short ones, so that's why there's so many of them. I really have not been around much longer than yourself. I haven't hit the 1 year mark. Sometime in May, it'll be about a year for me.
Wow.
So relatively new. And but like I said, because of the brevity, it's kind of easy for me to crank out quite a few. And podcast editing is a little less intensive than video editing, so probably a little harder from your end. But I'm an IT guy by trade. I spent decades coaching youth soccer, training soccer players, mentoring other coaches and stuff. Crossed the 50-year mark, and the knees are going, and tried to look for some more new hobbies. So tried to find some more creative things. I got into writing, wrote a couple of murder mysteries available out on Amazon, and then saw Joe Darlington's How to Podcast video on YouTube, and I said, what the hell, and I'll give it a shot, man.
Yeah, that's great. And let me just tell you right off the bat, I wouldn't have known unless you told me that you've been on here or doing podcasts for less than a year, because they're just so much fun. They're bite-sized, and they're super enjoyable and really professional and really fun. So like I told you when we were texting over Instagram, I really am a huge fan of the content that you produce. And it's super cool because you kind of tie in the brain itself and how it relates to James Bond, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I look for. I mean, you got to keep the muscles in the heart and the lung, and you got to exercise they got to exercise your brain too. And so that's something that is, huge in my job. It's huge for you. I mean, I know you're a student, so you're getting that all the time by going to class and you're learning and all that. But once you get into your career and start moving along, you get into these habits and you start to know things like the back of your head, and you're not really challenging your mind as much. So I like to do that a lot. I like to do it through challenging games and the like. And, I just began to notice that all these films, all these books, the Bond character is depicted in the same way. Always playing games, whether it's poker or bridge or, backgammon. And so that's just the angle I decided to take. Everybody seems to kind of have their niche in this group.
Very nice. Yeah, I, again, enjoy it so very much. It's perfect for me because the commute to my school isn't super long, maybe about a half hour to an hour. And every time I'm able to fit in a couple of your podcasts, which, I love everyone else's, like, Joe Darlington's and all the guys out there, but their podcasts are super long, so I have to stop it right before I have to get to class, and I'm like, I gotta stop in the middle of class, and then I gotta focus. With yours, I'm able to finish at least one or two, and it's perfect. I absolutely love it. But I mean, there's been so much going on, and I'm kind of curious to hear from your end. Well, with the whole and for those who don't know, which I don't know, a lot of people, unless you've been living out underneath a rock,
Right.
No Time to Die has been postponed.
Right.
Yet again. What are your thoughts and what are your feelings on it?
It's disappointing. Disappointing. It's disappointing for everyone. You're getting all hyped up and you want to see the movie, and there's already been a long wait between the films. But and then you look at some of the older films. But even a guy my age, like Dr. No, From Russia with Love. Even I'm not old enough to have seen those things first view in the theater. Mm-hmm. So I don't really remember the 2-year gap or every other year kind of thing for films. It was always bigger gaps. I haven't really enjoyed it. I was, obviously disappointed. But, in the end, there's still a lot of fun to be had. We're going to get the movie sooner or later. They didn't drop $250 million on a movie, and it's never going to come out. So, right. That's a no-brainer. I did feel bad for, all of those people, and I was not one of them, who had, all these European trip plans mm-hmm. and purchased tickets and hotel rooms, and obviously the thousands of bucks they put out. And, so I'm not even sure. I have some videos and podcasts to catch up on, and I'm not even sure any of them still doing it. Obviously the world premiere's off the table.
Right. And
some of them were even traveling, London, Paris, and, multiple locations to see these premieres. And now, they're not going to get to do that. And I'm a guy that always looks forward to that next vacation, man. I'm just working for that next one. That's my incentive. That's your stress relief. That's your time off. So it's if they get canceled, I feel bad for that. I mean, I don't like to see that happen to anybody. Yeah. So
I feel like I completely agree. I can only imagine. Like, I know Joe had things planned. He had a whole European
trip. Oh yeah.
And now he has to alter that. But kind of a cool segue into vacations, because you went to Operation Snowfall, right? How was that?
That was awesome, and that was actually kind of a game changer for me. I always hated the fact that there was these Star Trek conventions and Star Wars conventions and stuff, and we really never had that for the Bond franchise. I mean, the first book comes out in 52 or 53, and now it's 2019, and there's 24 films, and, why isn't there some big giant convention? But now, after going to Snowfall, meeting a lot of the people, and I think it's actually better that way. Because now, there's multiple gatherings. So, just last night or it might have been today, there was a group in Montreal going to see Casino Royale in concert.
Yep.
There was Snowfall. There was Gatherall earlier in the year. Unfortunately, on a weekend, I was tied up because that was only 90 minutes from my house. But,
wow.
Right.
Yeah. Both of those.
So I think it's better that we have all these choices.
Yeah. Both of those, Gatherall and Snowfall, I was close to going, actually. I really wanted to go to Gatherall because I know it was in the States. It would have been, transportation there for me wouldn't be too difficult.
Right.
I mean, right now I'm in the, I'm sure you've heard me go on and say this about in my previous episodes, but I'm saving for my London study abroad trip.
Yes, I saw that. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Glad you hit your mark, man.
Yeah, I finally made it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm over the world. I'm stoked. Now I'm saving money for all the spending I'm going to do over there. So,
wow, yeah.
But I paid off the trip, so it's a go for sure. And that was one of the reasons why I had to choose whether to go hang out and possibly be a little bit later in reaching my goal, or wait and hold back and then get to my goal. So that was kind of the things I had to wager, but I wanted to make sure my priorities were straight, because not only is this going to be fun going to London, doing all the Bond things, but it's also furthering my education. So I decided to hold off, and also too.
I think you made the right call there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my parents would agree too with that. But no, yeah. there's going to be tons more, I think, especially with the postponement of No Time to Die. I think we're going to be seeing a series of events coming up, and I think I'll have more opportunities because I'll be back with 2 months to spare in my summer before my aviation school starts up. So
Okay.
I'll have some time, and I'm also planning to try to do events myself, me and a James Bond aficionado, and ladies who bond as well. We're all kind of in the same area, and
That's what you got to do, man. That's
yeah,
the people to hook up with.
right.
Yeah.
We're thinking about having a little event over here for the West Coast. I know for me, I love during California summers are beautiful. It's perfect for movie
Sure.
nights underneath the stars. So I'm maybe renting out a blow up theater and having it
Oh yeah.
in the park or something, or something fun like that. Maybe different Craig film every other weekend, something like that. But yeah, I mean, I was devastated. I was in the middle of class. I got the notification on my phone. I was like, I had to step out of class. I was like, excuse me, may I use the restroom? And I had to step out of the class. And I was like, are you kidding me? This is not the first time at all that this movie has been postponed. I mean, this is
I
the
think
fourth
that's. I
time.
think it's 4. Yeah, I think you're right.
And I was like, wow. But that being said, what are your plans to kind of fulfill this 7 month gap till November?
Things really won't really change other than not having the film to comment on. I don't really do a lot of reviews of stuff. I don't consider myself, even though I ran a movie theater for 4 years, I don't consider myself to be any kind of expert on those sort of things. You see, like, Joe will do the reviews with his buddy Scott, and these guys just have this encyclopedic knowledge, and it's really hard to kind of hold a candle to that kind of stuff. So other than obviously changing the plans, I already had tickets for taking the day off from work to go the first day, and then my wife and I had dinner plans with friends to go see it again a couple of days later. But I mean, outside of that, nothing's really changed. I have a list of topics and stuff I want to go through, and Matt from the James Bond Complex turned me on to something else that Bond related. So I've got another list of things to
Cool.
just go through on the podcast, and it really won't change my content delivery.
Cool.
But I can see, some people, yeah, it's gonna
Yeah,
it's gonna change a lot of their plans for whatever they're providing.
definitely. I'm kind of harkening back to the whole, just because I'm curious because I wasn't able to go, but it looked like loads of fun. Snowfall, you guys went out to eat beforehand, I believe, and then you went to the concert and then hung out afterwards. Want to kind of give us like a quick summary of the night, maybe?
Sure, yeah. It really was almost the perfect setup, and a lot of the credit goes to Jeff Wybo of James Bond Canada. There were basically 2 hotels in town where everyone was staying, and they were both maybe a few blocks from Meridian Hall where the event was. So the way he set it up, there was 4 o'clock that Saturday. There was, black tie optional. A lot of people came black tie, and there was just cocktails and hors d'oeuvres. However much it was nice because it was really more a gathering. If you don't want to spend a lot, you didn't have to spend a lot. There was no entrance fee or anything like that. So there was that gathering that night, followed by a walk over to Meridian Hall. David organized some group pictures, and then we went in and saw the show, and then a second cocktail party at the other main hotel. Turned it back to be convenient for my wife and I, because that's where we were staying.
Oh, nice.
And right, so there was a post show gathering, but even the night before there was kind of an informal gathering. People were just sort of Instagram messaging and stuff and say, hey, we're all hanging out here in this cocktail hour. And people just started kind of gathering in and recognizing each other, and some people knew each other from before.
Mm-hmm.
I had never met any of those guys. The only person I met prior to that is I don't know if you follow Charm City Fit Cops on Instagram. He's a Baltimore policeman. His name's Donnie, big Bond fan, and Ray Krompel and I really live very close to each other, about 40 minutes apart. So we had gotten together for beers, and I had met Donnie beforehand. Outside of that, Ray couldn't make it up to Snowfall, but I also live very close to David Zaritsky and Harris Thomas, and so the three of us went with my wife and I, Harris's girlfriend, and David all ended up on the same flight out of Philadelphia.
Okay, nice.
So right from the airport, we were, kind of talking Bond and that kind of stuff.
Cool.
So the whole thing was just Bond. And then we get to the hotel we're staying at, and, I'm always doing the games and stuff like that within the Bond films, and it's a lobby with giant chess pieces and stuff like that. So it really was like, that was just pure luck, but that worked out really well. Yeah. It was a really great weekend. If you ever get a chance to see a film like that with a full orchestra, even if it's not Bond, anything that you have any kind of passion for, it was just really a very unique way to take in a film.
Man, yeah, I was so jealous seeing all the pictures, hearing everyone's reaction, some of the podcasts that were put out there, saying how everyone kind of, for those who weren't really who didn't really enjoy the Skyfall score, this kind of turned the tables for them. It kind of gave them a newer look on the way the film is with the music, because I completely agree with you. When it's something different. It's a whole different experience when you get to be there live and hear the instruments and see the instruments move together. I have a little bit of musical background. I play the piano, saxophone, and guitar.
Oh, nice.
So I kind of have the appreciation for that. And I was so jealous because that's one of the big things that I really love about Bond, as well as the orchestral musical aspect of it. And I definitely need to look up, because there's nothing here in the U.S., unfortunately, when it comes to the concerts. I'm really looking to try to find something like that soon.
There is, but not Bond.
Oh, yeah. I was talking about Bond and
right. Yeah. I mean, in Philadelphia, near me, they'll do Harry Potter or a Star Wars or something.
Yeah, a lot of Star Wars.
You don't get to see Bond. But I don't think they're done. I think there's supposed to be more Skyfall dates announced. So I don't know where they'll be, obviously. But so there could be further opportunities arise there. If it was relatively close, I would see Skyfall again. I really love. If Casino Royale, hadn't been just 2 weeks after Toronto, just 2 months or 3 months, I would have tried to have, got to Montreal for that as well. But it was just too short a period of time to get the time off from work, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I was doing my research. Like I said, I really wanted to go, and there was some actually really good tickets for. I think the cheapest was around $50 or something like that. It wasn't bad at all.
No,
it was really affordable. And I mean, I honestly, when it comes to experiences like that, you don't really need to be front row. If you have a good seat, you'll be able to hear it. You'll be able to see the visuals. I think I heard them say they had the subtitles on the screen as well.
They did. Yes.
Nice. Yeah. And so again, very jealous, but I'd love to see pictures, and I am definitely going to do my best to, whatever event comes up, and when I'm done with this whole study abroad thing, definitely try to make it out. I know a lot of people have actually reached out to me, which has been incredible, because I myself had just started a little over a month or so ago. And the great thing about this community is they're so supportive. They're so cool. They're really nice.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
and
yeah.
When I did the post about reaching my goal and heading over to London, I had a bunch of DMs, and I know AJ Chowdhury contacted me and was like, hey, let me know when you're in town. Peter Brooker says he's gonna try to set something up for me and him.
Oh, that's great, man.
So many people that are in the area really want to connect, which is so cool, because I'm here. I'm the kind of the younger crew, just starting out, but everyone is so respectful and all the same, and it doesn't really matter who you are or where you come from. It's just all about Bond, and I absolutely love it. So I have, it's really exciting, and
Yeah, it's a great shared hobby, man.
I know it's something that's special for me because I know I was discussing this with Harris when we did our video. Bond came at a time when I was trying to figure things out, whether career wise, and it was a time where all my friends were going off to different colleges, all around the country. I was saying goodbye to people that I knew for years, so I really was at a stage that I didn't know what to do next. And
Right.
I'm sure I have friends that completely went off the deep end. They've done questionable things, but for me, I wanted something that I could be a part of and felt like I was important. And this community has been just that. And I just, again, this is, I know you have been around and met people, and you have been everyone's, go-to and all that. And I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of this and hanging out and all that. It really means a lot because I know, I mean, I look up to you. I look up to everybody that is basically, has started before me, because I know they have all experience and all that. And it's really cool to be incorporated and involved and allowed to. It's just really awesome. But
I was actually very happy to see when I got out here, before I started the podcast, I would use Facebook, but I never used Instagram. So I was completely unaware of dressing like Bond and some of the other guys. And when I saw Harris and then I saw you come on board, I thought, man, this is really cool, because when you look at, like, say, guys my age, we're kind of second generation Bond fans. There's a dozen or so films that we would have never been able to, or been old enough, or even born to see first run in the theater. So this is sort of the same way as when I was coaching soccer. It was nice to see, all right, there's it's going to keep going, because there's guys like you out there, and you're what, like 19 or 20?
19, yeah.
Right. And Harris can't be 30. So it's, but that means it's going to continue. That there's the next guy stepping up, and it's expanding beyond just, a bunch of old middle-aged guys like me, and that there's more to it. And, and then you really are in it. I know a couple times in your interviews you've said that you're late to the game, but quite honestly, at 19, I think you're early to the game, pal. I really do. Most guys do not get into it at 19. They're in their mid-20s or their early 30s before they really start to look at the character and see the positive things and follow it. So, I don't think you're late to the game at all, man. I wish I'd have started at 19 instead of 53,
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, there's still tons to learn for me to learn, but I mean, I'm just finishing Casino Royale, the novel, and I'm trying to get through the novels as well. I've watched all the movies. I've dissected all the movies. Right. Now I'm trying to expand my knowledge with the novels, and even going outside of the Fleming, era with I know there was Forever and a Day is one of the newer ones, or the ones that have been out there.
Oh, Anthony Horowitz, yeah.
To check out too and get involved in. So there's little things like that I still want to. But what really kind of drew me to this whole thing was the style. I love just dressing up and putting on a nice suit, or whether it's Bond's casual wear, stuff like that. Sure. It makes you stand out. Kids my age, they come to class in sweats and pajamas, and it's kind of just, I don't understand that. I mean, if that's them, that's them, and who am I to judge?
That's their style, man. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's this whole Bond lifestyle type of thing. It's just so fascinating, and it's super cool. And like a lot of the people, I surprise a lot of people. They think I'm a lot older than I actually am, but it's just because I've done so much research, and I've really dove into the style aspect of it, and the traveling and experienced different cultures and stuff like that. And it's been very, very really eye opening on some points, and it's been super, super cool to just be able to be a part of it, a part of something that's been around for a while, but yet there's still new things popping up every day. So
it's really cool that you do get into it, and the style and the dress and stuff like that. It makes people think you're older because it makes such a positive impression, and it says something about you and maturity level. And I would not have guessed 19 when you first started doing these until you said 19. I had two daughters that are 19, and they're friends, and my girls are great. but it's not usually at 19. People are not out, going to go film buying a tuxedo, or they're, or they like wearing suits. So I think all that stuff is great. And I can tell you, have you ever read How to Live the James Bond Lifestyle?
I have not, actually. No.
Okay, so I think it's only available now as an ebook, but
Okay.
you get it as an ebook. It's a book by a guy named Paul Curiati, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Kyriazi, I believe.
Okay. Write that down. This
Great.
is the living. What was it?
How to Live the James Bond Lifestyle, and it's a book you can read any age. But I swear, if I was a college professor, I would hand it out to every guy graduating from college, and it gets into everything that you put on your podcast about, being organized, and you've got goals, and I'm going to go to London, and I'm going to be a pilot, and I'm going to look nice when I do it, but it does it all in a way that it uses the character as, an example, and how to get organized. Awesome book. I read it in my 40s. I really wish I would have read it in my 20s.
Cool.
So
I know what I'm doing after this.
yeah. It's also a real kind of easy read. You can pick it up, read a chapter, not touch it for a month, pick it up, read another chapter. It's very divided up. Yeah.
Love that. Yeah. Well, hey, I just want to say thank you again for the little bit of time that we spent. It was really great. I love doing this because I like to meet everyone, and like I tell everyone this. If there's anything you need, any whatever, maybe my line's always open. Whether if you want to discuss certain things or or whatever it may be, I'm always here. I know. I am looking forward to maybe someday meeting you and the guys, which I cannot wait. It'd be such a
if you hit the East Coast, you let us know. We will, as many of us, I'm sure would gather in, and everyone would love to meet you. I don't, I can't speak for everybody, but I can't imagine that, the way it is with this group of people that do this stuff. Yeah, everybody goes out of their way to be nice and promote, and people you've never even met, and all of a sudden they're promoting things for you. It's very cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah. Well, I know it's late in the evening for you, and I don't want to keep you more than I have to, but thank you again. And everyone watching, thank you for tuning into another awesome episode of That One Bond Guy Meets. And again, this is Mr. Bud West from the Bond Brain. I will link his Instagram and his podcasts in the description below, so please check him out. And until next time, like I always say, let's continue the journey in the next video. Good evening, everybody. And thank you again, Mr. Bud West.
Good night, pal. Thank you very much.